Hey, gun people. Lazy days. Smokey's over here helping me out on a video. So, it's a pretty cool day out here, and there's not a lot of wind. So, figured I would do a, horses are back there, having my coffee, and I was like, well, such a nice day, what can I do a simple video on? So I decided to talk about revolvers. Since revolvers aren't as popular as other guns, sometimes people don't know a bunch about them. So, let's take a look at this little revolver. I'm pretty sure it's loaded. Yeah, it's loaded. It's unloaded. So, I checked it before. You big bunch of crap. I had some dude come here because I said, let me see if the gun's loaded. I clicked it like I'm an idiot and I don't know my gun's loaded or not. And he's like, you're teaching bad habits. Somebody's gonna die. Then he attaches some freaking article where some knucklehead was cleaning his gun and shot his kid, and it was my fault. Because I went, get you freaking safety out. I digress. I relax. It was a nice morning here. I'm having my coffee. The little Shell station has Texas pecan coffee. Ooh, man, that's good. Ooh. So anyway, let's talk about a few things about a revolver. If you haven't had one, don't own one, thinking about getting one, a lot of people call them old school. A lot of people say they're not as good, blah, blah, blah. You know, look, I like them. They're old craftsmanship. Been around for a long time, very reliable. No tension anywhere. There's not a lot of springs. Revolvers tend to be very reliable. When you pull the trigger, they go bang. Kind of like Glocks. Oh, Glocks are Tupperware good. You can't. Oh, whatever. Glocks go bang every time. So, and you can't say that. I've got high-end 1911s that have jammed, that have not cycled. So, I mean, look. I rarely ever, actually I was in a gun store the other day and I brought in a Glock that had broke. He had it for like 10 years and I was like, man, I've never seen a Glock that broke. I said, let me see this. And he pulls it out and it's the spring, the recoil spring. They make them, I think, stainless steel or now, but they used to be plastic. And the gun still functioned, it just, the little round part kind of broke like a little half moon or quarter moon off the round part. Still loaded, still worked. Even though it was broke, still worked, functioned fine. The guy just wanted to change it because it bothered him that it was broke. I don't blame him. I would have changed it too. A new spring ain't nothing. And I would have replaced it with a, you know, one of the steel guide rods. But we're talking about revolvers. So here's the worst thing that you can do to revolver. When you see somebody doing that and slamming this little thing right here, I believe it's called a yoke. I don't know on my, I love the people that come here that Google the term and then say, you should know the term. Shut up, you big dummies. So this little arm here that holds the cylinder that opens up and closes, it has a lot of torque, and I'm sure one of my engineers can tell me about how much this weighs and how all this is on this one little tension bar right here. So you don't want to be slamming this down and you don't want to be slamming this close. The proper way to close this is you always control that cylinder with 2 fingers through and the thumb. And that way I always have it. And then when I load it, I can move it like that and put 1 round in at a time and control it. And then when I close it, I can take my thumb and fingers and do a controlled close and lock it into place. Versus this, I hate even doing that for demonstration. They slam it like that, or when they pop it open, they'll go, man, that's not good for a revolver. Don't do that. Now, I don't think 1 time or 2 times is going to do it, but it's just, and what that does, because this balances, is there's a little gap here. I don't know what that gap's called. Somebody can Google it and come here and appear smart and tell me. Where this cylinder meets the barrel there, and as that gets bent or loose, and you can see a gap right in between here, that's not good, because then it lets powder and stuff expand out and flash out, which it does anyway, but it lets more. So, the thing about a revolver is most of them have some sort of thing to release the cylinder. Smith & Wessons are right here. You push it forward and it releases the cylinder so you can open it, what that little spring does is push on this little button right there, that spring tension button, your ejector to knock the rounds out. But that's probably the biggest tip. Now the other thing that I like to do when I'm looking at revolvers, or especially if I'm looking at a used one, is I'll close it controlled, not slamming or open, and then you spin it. And the way you spin a revolver, it locks in, is if you click the revolver just enough as you're pulling back on the hammer. If you twist, you'll notice when it releases. And when it releases, you can spin the cylinder. And when I spin a cylinder, what I'm looking for is right back here in this little area here. I'm looking if that doesn't change, so the wheel isn't off. And there's a consistent gap there to make sure it's not off level. And I'm looking here at this little gap to make sure that the light doesn't change or the cylinder isn't bent. And again, by just moving the hammer back a little bit, see the thing will lock if the hammer's forward, but if you pull it back just a little bit, it'll release that. So you hold the hammer back a little bit, and then you can spin the wheel. If you lock it all the way back, the wheel locks. If you leave it all the way forward, I say wheel, they call them wheel guns, the cylinder. So that's kind of the big things about a revolver, that besides you can spin them, and they're not going to go off, because most revolvers have a very hard trigger. I mean, I don't think I can make this trigger go off, but you'll have some safety Sally, whoa, don't ever spin a gun. They used to spin revolvers all the time. Why? Because they had hard triggers. Now if I spin it when it's locked back here, it's probably going to go off. Didn't go off because I'm putting tension here and not so much on trigger, but it can go off. So when it's on double action, man, a revolver is pretty hard pull. That's why you could carry them in your pocket, etc., and they're not likely to go off. Can they go off? Yeah, if you stick a finger in the trigger and pull it, it'll go off. But doing this, it ain't going off. I mean, I can spin this all day. It's not going to pull the trigger. Should you do it with a loaded gun? No, of course not. But if you're familiar and comfortable with your gun and you understand its concepts, I'm not saying play around with a loaded gun. I'm just saying if you're comfortable and you check a gun to make sure it's unloaded when you handle it. If somebody gives you a gun, it's always loaded until I check it and make sure it's not loaded. And even if it's unloaded, I don't want to point a gun. I don't want to really laser myself. Ooh, did you see that guy? He lasered. Whoa, he lasered. Oh, my arm. It fell off. Freaking idiots. All right. Man, it looks cloudy. The wind's blowing. It's so freaking nice out here. It's like 87, but still, you know, compared to 115, it's cool. Look at that damn cat. It's Smokey in the camera. Smokey, he's a good kitty. He's a good Mokey Moke. He's like, hey, Dad. Dad's teaching gun people. That's right. All right, so that's pretty much the things that I like to, for somebody you can tell when they handle a revolver on how they open this cylinder. If they do it nice and controlled and smooth, if they hold the cylinder and always support it, because I'm cradling the gun and I'm supporting this so this doesn't flop around. So I'm making the gun solid, and then this secures it, and that's how somebody with the cylinder open should be carrying a revolver. If they're carrying it, now I'm using the first two fingers. Some people say use the two middle fingers and use these fingers out here. It doesn't really matter. As long as you support the cylinder and yoke and you keep it, I mean, I guess I could use these two little fingers if I wanted to. To me that feels very awkward, but so I either like using the two middle fingers, hook them, or the first and the thumb. Okay? So when you handle a revolver, you want to look like you know what you're doing. Support that cylinder, don't let it flop around, and don't slam it, and don't flip it open. And if you see somebody flipping open or closing a revolver like, oh damn, wasp. Well, that was one of those dirt daubers. I killed a whole bunch of wasps. I'm over there kicking my firewood, kind of getting it straightened out a little bit because it was kind of leaning. Freaking 50 wasps come out. I'm like, shit, I go hauling ass across here, rolling on the ground. I'm like, don't sting me. I got away without a sting. I came out here last night and they were all sleeping. All the kind little, and I did an ambush on their ass with some Raid. Psst, Zapped them. All gone. Yeah, that's right. I took them out. All you Wasp Lives Matter out there protesting, knock yourself out. I took them out. I'm tired of getting stung, messed up, taking medicine and crap. Alright, so that's my... And they stung Moki too. And I killed them too. Huh, Moki? Mean old wasp. Moki's a good kitty cat. Meow, 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 meow. Say hi to YouTubies. Say hi to YouTubies. Alright, so that's some Revolver stuff. You can tell I got some more hay for those who are paying attention. I'm sure somebody noticed. All my hay was gone. I just had 50 bales of hay delivered. $1,200 for 50 bales of alfalfa hay. I was like, are you kidding me? It was only 15 bucks for delivery, and actually it's free because they take $1 off. But I mean, 24 bucks for a bale of hay? Freaking outrageous. Anyway, my horses got to eat in the winter. So anyway, well, that there on Revolver etiquette, handling, understanding, safety, Sally, lasering, checking a gun if it's loaded. All right. Moki, you're a good boy.